This is Phantom Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air for the first time with Alec Harrison. You're a film and documentary composer. Welcome to the Phantom Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Before we get to the heart of your story, put a little business out of the way. If you see that QR code on the top of the screen, that's where Podmatch. Podmatch is kind of like a Tinder for podcast guest and host. So that's how we book a guest on our show. So if you're somebody who wants to be on a podcast, if you're a podcaster looking for guests, it's a good way to do that. So scan that with your phone now, and that QR code will bring you there. You can check it out. And before we get to the heart of your story, I always ask every guest on the show a couple questions before we start. What motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
That's a good question. I think what motivates me is learning the art of music. You'll never learn everything. And there's always something new. The expression, the more you know you don't know anything, is very true when it comes to, I think, any kind of art.
Yeah.
And I do it because I just love story. I love storytelling, and being able to engage in that process with music, which is what I'm comfortable with, is really why I do what I do.
Yeah, and you specialize in documentary like films, doing the compositions for those, for that and feature films too as well, right?
Yeah,
You're from Canada, right? Or are you
correct. Yeah,
you're in Calgary? You still there?
I am. Yeah, I'm just south of Calgary, and it snowed a lot today.
Oh,
So if
well,
you're
I'm in
if you're
Concord.
listing somewhere that it's warm, you're lucky. It's very cold and snowy here today.
I'm in Concord, New Hampshire. I'm not too well, not too close, not too far, but I'm in the kind of area that's similar.
Yeah. We get hit with some weather, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
we get hit with the snow, which I don't mind. So one of the things we're going to talk about, which is important, is the human connection and storytelling. Now, the thing that's interesting that I would just do a background is I'm an electronic musician. I use Moogs, I use like Roland Junos and stuff like that, and modulars. And there was like when Robert Moog created the Moog, there were people from the conservatory that said that's not a real instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And today people don't really think of a Moog as not being a real instrument.
No, right? I can't imagine someone looking at that and saying, "Well, that's not an instrument." I mean, the spoons are an instrument, so it's
Yeah.
how you play it. It's what you do with it.
So like the tech now, we've got all this AI generated, generative music.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back in the day, like the old Moogs didn't have keyboards; they used sequencers, and
Yeah.
people use like low frequency oscillators and other triggers to trigger the music in a non-standard way.
Yep.
And experimental musicians have always tried to look like beyond a piano or a guitar. I use like 864 pad matrices to
Yep.
be able to do alternative type of note structures that you couldn't do on a piano. Um,
Yeah.
so there's things that you can do with the tech that can push things forward. And then there's a guitar and having a great like German piano. That's great if you can have it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and I think it's interesting too, because electronic music kind of opened up an opportunity for musicians who didn't have like classical theory, and proved that you can still write a song, you can write a piece of music with essentially no knowledge of the technical aspect of music from a theory standpoint. And in some ways it could be better because you end up with a result that you wouldn't have if you did have all of this theory knowledge and you're trying to follow rules. It's very free. It's a very free way to write and compose, and it's cool that you've got all that equipment, because it really was like a conduit into this new world of making music with electronics, which is
That's why where
thankfully.
your focus. You're doing that type of work.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of what I do, the end result sounds like acoustic instruments or an
You're
orchestra,
using
but
plugins, you're using like
yeah,
DAWs and
yeah, yeah, exactly. But there's still electronics in there, and so anytime you can sneak in a Moog or a Juno or something,
yeah,
you
yeah,
got to do it, right?
yeah. What do you think? Because the thing is, it's like the argument why the DX7 kind of became popular versus
Hmm.
like the Mini Moog, was the Mini Moog takes up a lot of bandwidth, and
Yeah,
the DX7 with the digital synthesis, it's not as heavy in the mix. It doesn't take up all the room.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so if you're a composer, sometimes it's like, well, that Moog is like overdoing it. It's like the Hammonds and the Moogs and the, all the electric pianos with their full polyphony is like that was maybe overdoing it, but now
Yep.
you're like you're underdoing it.
Yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, we need some of that analog back,
Yeah,
it can sometimes you don't need much
yeah.
to make it
It
effective.
could be a little heavy.
Yeah.
I like listening to the Yes and the Genesis with Peter Gabriel and you listen to the experimental stuff. I was just listening to a bunch of Zappa and and the others, but and Sun Ra. It's like so I'm all over the map. I'm listening to
Yeah.
everything, but it's like I just like people who are pushing something, like are pushing something different, a different approach. Like I always thought Pete Townsend was a great synthesis because he's a guitar player,
Yeah.
and the way he approached Baba O'Reilly or Won't Get Fooled Again, the way he did those sequences, and he
Yep.
ran them through like the EMS
Yeah.
like that the way that was brilliant through like he actually used it a couple like he ran it through filters and envelope followers I think, and by doing that
Yeah.
he created this thing that a keyboard player wouldn't have done that.
No, that's exactly right. You can write parts and come up with things that a player wouldn't necessarily be able to recreate, and that's okay. That's why it's different and interesting. And I think we know listening to it that we're not hearing somebody play that part live. But that's what's so cool about it is that it's, taking a machine that you could make sound awful and make it sound musical.
Yeah, figuring out how to do generative patterns or because I spend a lot of time just playing with like sequencers,
Yeah,
voltage controlled sequencers with like CV, like physical CV, not digital CV.
right. Yep. Yep.
Because there's something about those old modulars that you're really experimenting, like, "Okay, let me invert this signal. Let me
Yeah.
run
And
it
what
through a
happens?
workflow that's not the normal workflow. I'm actually gonna break the workflow and make it go not follow the path.
Yeah. And and
I'm gonna
and
go
pitch
left to
is
right."
interesting too, right? Like we listen to samples now and they're all very perfectly in tune. But those instruments weren't always perfectly in tune, and that's why they sounded so good. They're not supposed to be
Yeah,
perfect.
I think that's a mistake, I think, with some people in the DAWs
Mhm.
is because in the DAW, you spend all your time looking for perfection. Where when like,
Right.
I started on Tascams and Fostex,
Yep.
and I still like to use hardware recorders
Yep. Yep.
because I like to manually or even generative like through a CV modular,
Mhm.
triggering something on my MPC, like
Yeah.
actually controlling a sample from a Moog and then having that Moog sound on there too. And then letting that be an imperfect because
Mm.
that's the whole point when you listen to the older music. Like you try to put it against a click track and it won't work.
No.
So
No.
it's like that's why it's good.
Yeah, like, I mean, listen to, like, what was his name? Jay Dilla, was it?
Yeah, Jay
Yeah,
Dilla.
he played everything live on the MPC, and it's like there's so much push and pull, but that was what made it cool, you
Yeah, I
know?
like that MP. I have a Force, which is kind of like a different version of a MPC, but actually has a bigger grid. It's like a 64 pad grid,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then you can like trade these generative things, and you can link CV to it. So I can have a mode coming into the mix, and then using all those pads, and you manually play the pads in a arranger mode, and then
Yeah.
you can create these like sound paintings, kind of Hendrix and
Yeah.
Jordan Martin penned the idea of a sound painting where you could
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
studio to sonically paint with layers the
Mhm.
music to tell a story, which I think as a filmmaker, you must be totally about that when you're painting that picture to go with a film.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's interesting because the process of writing to picture isn't linear. It's very rarely linear, especially
Yeah,
on
it's like
a
all over the place.
yeah, you're usually starting at the end. Like frequently I'll start with the last thing or find where in the film do we have to be the biggest or the most dramatic or the most heroic or whatever the emotion. And I'll often start there and then let that inform
The rest of
how
it,
these other areas are going to work, right? Sort of pull backwards from it.
kind of to figure out your theme or the biggest impact, and then maybe you have hints to the theme. Can you
Yeah.
listen to like Star Wars, John
Oh yeah.
Williams?
Yeah.
Listen to how he approached doing our Blade Runner, listen to Blade Runner, listen to like how they approached it. And there's a lot of synth heads that know about the Blade Runner soundtrack.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
The Yamaha, yeah, the Yamaha like Dream Machines being used on
Yeah.
that, but CS80s, but I get too technical a little bit. But yeah, this seems like to me, some of the kids today is like, wow, plug in the plug in. Yeah, plugins are cool,
Hmm.
but there's something like if you could get like an old an old like Juno 106,
Yeah. Oh,
or
no
somebody
kidding.
lets you have like any of the Moogs, like
Hmm.
any Moog you can get, even the Radio Shack ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, like, and often, you'll see people online talking about, oh, I found this at a garage sale for $20, and it's like, that's a Juno 106. Like, where did you get that? It was
Yeah,
the guy didn't want it, or someone just doesn't know what they have, right? And
yeah, those are just brilliant. I mean, I
yeah,
got my Juno, and then I got a modern Juno that has like generative technology in it. It's got like
yeah,
a and I found like that generative thing can be really interesting because you can control it with a lot of it has a lot of control structure
mm,
that they brought back, and so you can actually go and trigger the generation kind of like you do with a
okay,
modular. You
right.
can, like you can keep on changing things that go into it, and if
Oh,
you
that's
keep on
cool.
changing things that go into it, you can have very very unique things. And if you run it into a recorder as you're doing it live,
Hmm.
you can get something kind of point in time and very cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's how it is. No, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, that's why I
In
like
that.
to do because there's people's like, oh, I got to clear this stuff. It's like you don't got to clear if you run like if you compose like that with electronic instruments. A lot of times you won't have to worry about clearing anything because you're gonna make something super unique.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, exactly. It's entirely its own thing. It's very, very unique. So no,
Yeah.
that's cool.
What do you think about like AI? I mean, I just
Yeah.
pointed out that AI, and I found a way. Just give a like disclosure. My day job, I'm a software guy. I'm a software
Okay.
developer, so I can afford my modes.
Yeah.
But what I find is like it's a crutch. It's a tool, just like
Hmm.
a sequencer's a tool, a mode's a tool. You can
Yep.
overdo it. You can decide, hey, I want an acoustic instrument here. I want somebody playing a real sax versus a pad, like a software sax,
Yeah.
right? Like it can get really good with the woodwinds and stuff today. Like,
Mm.
but there
Oh
could
yeah.
be a reason why you want that sax player, or that woodwind, or the flute player, or the clarinet player. There might be a reason why you want them, right?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. When it comes to AI, it's interesting because I've talked about this a little bit in the past, and it's changing every day.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not at this point feeling like it's going to come and take over,
yeah,
because I think that especially in film and television documentaries, filmmakers are in the business because they want to work with people
yeah.
and other storytellers, not.
Prompt engineering is probably not the thing you want to do. Spend there all the time prompt engineering like a 30-minute piece of music.
Well, that's it. And I think the view of AI kind of from the outside, and questions I've had from people that know what I do but don't understand maybe
Well,
all of it, or
all of it,
certainly
yeah.
AI. There's an assumption that someone's going to go and shoot this movie and spend all this money on it, and then the movie's going to come back and get edited, and they're just going to like feed it into some magic box, and then the perfect score is going to come out the
Yeah,
other
it'll
end.
give you
And
something, and it could be somewhat convincing, but it's gonna have no soul.
yeah, that
And
and
it's yeah, and it's glitchy. It's full of
yeah,
glitch. I was playing with some like stuff just to trigger, like random words. I would give it a generation of like to come up with like very kind of unique jazz kind of thing, like idea, like if you think about Coltrane and you
yep,
think about Sun Ra, space is the place. They just kept on saying space is the place and the different
yeah,
variations of that. So there's certain types of jazz, like I Love Supreme does that. So I said, oh, what if I do some spoken word? And I actually have the words. I'd say, let's randomize them and put them in different places. And then maybe
mm,
run them through sound generators and change the pitch and do all this stuff. But that's like, I'm still controlling what I want.
yeah. You're still in control. It's using it like a tool, and I just don't see a scenario, and I could be wrong. We could come back to this in 3 years, you and I going, oh my goodness, we had no idea. But I just don't like, if you're entering into this industry as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, you're doing it because you want to work with other human beings. And if
Yeah.
you're coming in
It's a human touch.
because you want to make AI generated movies entirely on your own, that's cool. Like, go do that. but that's a different thing
Well, it's like the
altogether.
one person operations, like the micro operation concept.
Yeah.
And we have that in software. Like there's software companies have 50 people, 500 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people.
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
is some now in some situations, if the guy's smart, you could leverage like a 500 person company could be done with like two guys,
Yeah.
right? From
Yeah.
software point of view.
Yeah.
However, you still need the human beings in there because the software just like to pillage other stuff. I mean, the AI
Right.
likes to look at what has already been done.
Yeah.
And the models to kind of theoretically think like a real critical thinker is not fully working right.
No.
The idea is they want to go to that, but it's not sentient. It doesn't have a soul. So even if it does it, it's still not a biological human being. And so
Right. No.
it will mirror what it knows and what it's been trained
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But it can't
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. It's been trained on the work that you and I are doing and putting out there, right? It's
yeah.
learning from that. Like one thing that I think is cool about AI music that it's kind of cutting its own path is when you hear like these really rich like soul and R&B versions of like classic rock songs. Like here's
Mhm.
AC/DC if they were a funk band from
Or
the
change it, tell it to do that because it listens to what was there and then kind of modifies.
yeah. And it sounds incredible. But it's interesting because it's not something that human beings are probably going to want to go and do and spend money on and hire a band and do all
Yeah, they
these
wouldn't
charts.
do it. These are things that kind of like blue sky ideas.
Yeah. It's
Like
like, what
look
would
blue
happen if
sky.
we took this and we took that and we put it together and made it, you know, and if AI can do that, you're probably creating something that would be insanely expensive to do that has no real way of recouping your cost even. So for AI to go and do that is kind of neat because it's like, oh, that's fun. Like, if Michael Jackson's songs were all done by swing, like a 20-piece big band.
Yeah, I just don't see AI being like Frank Zappa, Hendrix, or
No, but
Sun Ra or
it's not gonna
Coltrane. It's
create a
not
new
gonna go
thing.
and create like a new thing like Coltrane did,
Yeah.
like Davis did, like
Uh,
Hendrix did, like
yeah.
because he played the guitar left-handed, because the way he used his thumb, right?
Yeah.
Because of his approach.
Yeah.
Right? It was very Cherokee mystical. All this stuff was psychedelia, and so it was a combination of psychedelics, like indigenous Cherokee mythology,
Hmm.
and the blues. So
Yeah.
it's a rare kind of combination that creates a rare situation.
Yeah.
Now I
Yep.
don't think we're like where's the pain that the AI has to do the blues?
Where's the It's
Yeah, because
true.
that's where the truth is. Like if you're the Delta blues guys, like here go to New Orleans, it's like it's coming from a place like that machine. It's like plastic. Like
Yeah.
that's plastic emotion. So there's
Mm.
something about it that doesn't ring true. If you look at like artwork, my daughter's a graphic artist, and she's like, I can see the AI. All the artists she knows, they can see when something's AI.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and she like thought that they, oh, it's gonna ruin my opportunities. She's getting tons of logo work. She's doing
Mm.
like work for web for podcasts and all kinds of stuff because people realize that if you use AI, you get copyright strikes. You don't have really unique pieces of work,
Yep.
and it doesn't have that oomph, like you're saying, like why you want to work with a human
Yeah.
in film. It's the same thing like in art,
Yeah.
like any kind of art, like music and art, physical art.
Absolutely.
Like that, I think that human connection, like we were talking about, I just think like the people. I talked to a tech bro that owns one of these companies, and he was
Mm.
saying, "Oh, we're going to replace all the artists." It's like, yeah, you want to tokenize all the you. He's like, you want to make that you want to be the profit center. For
Right.
everything, right? And then that's what your mindset is, but you have no idea what art is because you're like, you're STEM. You're just all STEM. You don't think about. You never look like the philosophy. You don't like the softer things. You didn't read art. You didn't go into art history. You didn't listen to jazz. You didn't. But you don't. You're kind of boring.
Boring. No, it's
That's what
true. And it's like if you're trying to, like you said, tokenize art or create a little factory that's pumping out things that you're calling art, you're a factory, you're a business person, but that's not art. That's not an artist. That's just reproducing
it's a
and
widget.
and just like raking the history of what's already been done. And it's just like it's like a several photocopies in one
It's like the
package
Model
going,
T. Like you've gone in industrialized. We have industrial metal, industrial electronic, but it still
yeah,
comes from a kind of punk aesthetic,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
He has like a Joe Strummer mindset, Johnny Lydon mindset.
Yeah, yeah.
or Moan's mindset, like a
Yep.
television mindset, where you're coming from that kind of point of view. Even like a Bob Mold mindset. Like, but like, is the computer really gonna be like Bob Mold? I don't think so.
No, because it's everything it's doing is borrowing, and it's borrowing from everything. And I mean, I think it's a cool learning tool. I could see
Yeah, you can learn
occasions
a lot.
where, if you're studying theory or
You're
orchestration or composition, AI may be able to say, hey, here's three pieces you should listen to based on what you're
what you're
studying.
doing. Yeah, it could actually
Here's
like it can
here's
sniff what you're doing. I was talking to
Yeah.
one guy who was a producer that worked with Toto,
Yep.
and he would put like AI into his studio on the board and everything, and it would recommend like software plugins based on the style
Mm.
that he was using, like Neve processors, and like recommend and make like virtual versions of those based on what he
Wow.
was playing. And I think, oh,
Wow.
that's kind of a cool thing. Like, that to me is a help, because then you can go
Totally.
and show me in 15 seconds what does it sound like if I use this processor? What does it sound like if I use this one? And
Yeah.
then, but maybe you could get into a problem because, like,
Mm.
sometimes limitations, as an artist,
Hmm.
actually, like my Moog is monophonic. It's not like
Right.
it's not polyphonic. It's not like it's not fully uh have full. It's not like like a real piano is like total polyphony.
Yeah.
Like, you're limited, like, on it, like an 8 voice or a 16 voice machine may have a
Yep.
cool modern 256 voice
Yeah.
synth,
Yeah.
but, like, when you're limited to a monophonic synth like a mini Moog,
Hmm.
you can only do, like, 1 note at a time, and maybe you can
Yeah.
force it to do duophonic, but that limitation kinda guides where you're gonna go with how you're gonna use it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's interesting. Like, if you think about, the music that we would associate with like the medieval times and castles and kings and knights and the trumpets and those horns, they're very specific, and you can get that sound by using those notes.
Mhm.
They weren't writing it like that. They were playing those notes because that's the only notes those horns could play.
Could do,
They
yeah.
could play like five. So then you have two people with two horns. It's like, well, I'll play this. Your options were limited, and when we hear it now, we kind of associate it with that time frame in that era. But it was born out of limitation because those instruments weren't like a trumpet today where it can play all 12 notes.
Yeah,
It
it
was
can't play all it doesn't have they weren't fully, developed. Like, the
Yeah,
evolution of the instrument to be able to have the full range, to
yeah,
actually to run a full scale. And if you don't have these, like, instruments that had that, and the thing about electronic instruments is, like, if we went from monophonic to polyphonic to, like, full polyphony on
hmm,
some of these things. But it's like, I think the idea is you come at it from a different perspective. We have like West Coast, additive synthesis like Buchla
hmm,
versus like Moog. Like, Buchla stuff is like out there. Like, not
yeah,
everybody uses it.
yeah,
It's very, very specific, has kind of a very atmospheric, kind of very experimental use. The
yes, yep.
the Moog stuff is more traditional. People have heard it. The
People
Buchla
have heard
stuff,
it.
it might be there, but you don't know. You might not
Yeah,
really know where it came from.
yeah, yeah. It's,
You know what I
that's a
mean?
good way of putting it. That's a good way
Yeah.
of putting it.
Yeah, and then we have all the added, we have this modern synthesis with the doing all kinds of, like, things with the samplers and,
Yeah.
and different perspectives and, granular synthesis models, and, we're just trying to say, well, what's the next big thing? Like, in terms of, like, what you can do. I saw something that was like a mechanical Korg, like, acoustic synthesizer.
Wow.
It just popped out, and it actually is kinda like it has magnets and resonators, and then it
Holy
has, like,
smokes.
filters. And the oscillators are actually the magnets and like a guitar. Well,
Right.
more like if you were like playing what is it called? If you're playing in jazz, not a yeah, I can't get it in my head. I know what the instrument is, but yeah, it's a physical capability. Well, I thought that was cool, but it's limited
Yeah.
in the range. It's only like one octave
Yeah, yeah.
first of implementation, but if you actually made it multiple octaves, then it could, and then you can change the source of the different types of pickups in it, the coils.
Right. So it's like an acoustic
Yeah,
version of an electronic instrument.
yeah. And I think
That's
that
wild.
stuff that kind of pushes the envelope for me when I'm looking at people coming up with different models
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
what could you do?
I think we're gonna. I honestly think we're gonna tire of AI as a creative output quicker than we think, and I think there's going to be way more use for it. Like in terms of taking away the tasks that are
Yeah, it's more for robots.
boring or repetitive, or yeah, or where we need, like, when I deliver a job, I have to have a cue sheet, which is like a list of every piece of music, the in and the out and all
I can
that.
do
It's
stuff
very
like that for
clerical.
you. Yeah,
It'd be great if it could check stuff or create it for me to be super accurate. Great, go do that. Let me worry about melodies and rhythms. AI, you go
just
do those.
transcribe all your stuff and actually get
Yeah,
it for you like very accurately and not like what maybe the other technology. It could get to a level where it actually is accurately getting like 99.9% of what you
yeah,
actually did, and then helping you with your copyright and your registration.
yeah. All the stuff that you kind of forget about because you're
The
you're
business stuff.
tired and you're trying to remember what you have to do. Um, but I think we're going to get tired of it, because I mean, you even see it on social media now. People are sharing AI
Oh, slop.
video not knowing it's AI, and
The
it's like,
slop,
no,
the
that's
AI
not
slop is what they call it.
AI slop.
It's like an overload. It's like it got like they found out there was like 50% of the posts were all coming from slop, from like
Wow.
bots. And
Jeez.
people were getting like it was actually affecting the influencers who are humans, right?
Yeah.
So these humans were, they're getting like millions of people and they were actually earning, they can actually make a living on YouTube or make a
Yeah.
living on TikTok. And then all this AI slop started cutting into them.
Yeah.
And it was just nonsense. It's just
Yeah.
total garbage.
Yep.
And it's kind of like junk food. It's like you will go to that junk food hamburger place if you don't have time. But if
Yeah.
you have time, you will go to the diner. You will go to the food truck. You will go out of your way 45 minutes to go to get that burger that you had that this guy does it different than anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the donut. Yeah, that's in whatever the robotic industrial version of it, like you said, you get tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think it's uh you know, I know people can be fooled by AI images and video clips and things. And I don't know. I do think there's going to be a pushback. There's all of these rumors too that it's going to take over everybody's job and everyone's going to
Yeah,
be out
it's
of a
limited.
job.
We have seen a problem in software where like you think that it can take away all those jobs.
Mm,
And because the executives in the C, they don't really know what people are doing.
no.
Right. So, but the problem is, was that it can do kind of rote tasks. But the
Hmm.
thing is, like in any industry, we have this kind of concept. You have what you call a happy path, which is like an
Mm.
80%, 80-20 rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 80%, maybe the AI could do it. But the 20% where things aren't standard, things
Yeah.
are exception processing. Like, give you an example. In an insurance company, you have regulations, you have rules, you have laws, you have structure. There's a
Hmm.
total structure of what the happy path 80-20 rule. But
Mm.
the 20% may actually bring a lot of money in, and
Yeah.
it's totally manual, and it's
Mm.
totally running on spreadsheets and some actuaries doing magic and that stuff, people have been wanting to get rid of it since the '70s, and they haven't gotten rid of it yet.
Right.
And I think the people have underestimated how much human beings actually are involved in flows, and they
Yeah.
find out
That's a
and
good
they end up
point.
having to hire them back. I've seen people get hired back.
Wow. Well, that's good. I mean, that's positive, right? It's yeah. I think we're still in very, very early days with AI, and it's changing all the time. I mean, this new thing, what's it called, Claude?
Yeah,
That
Claude is very advanced.
like I was learning a little bit about it today. It's wild, but I don't know. Apparently, there's like 160,000 users now who have all gone all in on this thing and been like, "Hey, AI, here's my computer, here's everything, here's my email, my bank, everything. Just you go to
Yeah, I think
town."
the problem what you have with the AI is the gates and the regulation on it are like non-existent. Like, so if you were thinking the NASAD and the Securities and Exchange, it's kind of like Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right? So you run into risk because the problem is not even a backdoor into these things because when you give AI rules and you tell it this is the rule, don't give this information out.
Mhm.
If you keep on pushing on AI, it will actually give you the information.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a good rule. So if you give a lot of your control over to something like that, you're gonna get hacked.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, I know people are excited about it, but we don't, like you said, like we don't know where it is on the other side of things, like
Yeah,
what's going on
the problem
behind.
is it has access to patents,
Mm,
privacy information, proprietary information, and it has no rules. Like in the EU, they've started to say, no, you can't do that. If there's
yeah,
a privacy rule or there's property, like you own intellectual property. Like
right.
what you see today, like when you have a song and somebody you get a copyright strike and somebody used your sample and they didn't clear it,
Hmm.
AI needs something like that. And
Yeah,
right now it doesn't really have it.
yeah, yeah,
And the problem is it's going into patents. It's going into people like, like a pharmaceutical company patent. It
right,
might find it. It might go and replicate and give it to some micro manufacturer, and then they totally like ripped them off, and the patent wasn't over.
right.
That's the problem with the tech. The tech can do anything, and you're not controlling it. And if you live in a economic system or any kind of system, you need rules, and especially for artists,
Yeah,
they totally demonetize us and say that our songs aren't our property; they belong to them because they think the tech field they think, oh, we can just tech bros, oh, we own your music.
yeah. We're just gonna take it.
We're just gonna take it because we got to train it, and then happens to give some kid your secret sauce, and then they're making money, and then you're not getting any of it.
Yeah, right. And I think this, I mean, we've seen it in Canada. There's a push right now. There's a few petitions going around that are getting quite popular to say, like, to no to AI scrubbing music, like cut it
Yeah,
out.
you gotta have an opt-in. And my whole thing is this: if you want to train it, fine. You have to, but you have to give me money. Just
Yeah,
like if somebody used my song and they didn't clear it, they got to clear. If they want to use it, they got to pay me.
yeah. This is how it
And so if
goes.
I have my number, if I've registered in with the BMI with my pro organization, I got it registered, and you use it without getting my approval, you're going to pay me. They want to make it so they don't have to pay for the patents and all the other stuff
Yeah, yeah,
because they think we're in a new world. We don't need the stuff from the 19th century.
yeah.
Like, but I don't think so.
No, it doesn't work like that, right? And I mean, AI could be great at scouring the networks, I mean networks as in broadcast, but also
Yeah.
online and everything to to maybe pull things that are not cleared properly. And I mean, there's bots already kind of doing
Oh
that,
yeah.
right?
I mean, we had bots that were doing that before the AI, but now they
Yeah,
get even more advanced. And then
yeah,
they can like I had a problem with it was like blocking one of my own songs. Like this is my song. And it said, and I was using it, and it said, "Well, you got to get it cleared from me, Mr. Jones." It's like, I am Mr. Jones. So it's like then you kind of get into this. Okay, this tech is a little out of control
yeah.
because like
Wow.
you don't know who I am. It's like I am me, and you don't think I'm me.
It's protecting you from you.
Yeah, I don't need it protecting me from me.
No, no kidding. No kidding. Wow.
No,
That's
that's not
interesting.
cool.
No, but no, it's gotten kind of out of hand. And it's interesting, like thinking about technology, I can make things in this studio sound like there's an orchestra going on. And some people might say, well, that's kind of a variation of AI. But honestly, when we get an opportunity to work with real players in a real orchestra, any composer will take it any day of the week.
Oh
No one's
yeah,
going to say, you know what? No, I'm good with my samples. Of course you're going to, because there's just, you can't replicate fully the experience of 50 people in a room. And that's like 50 people with 50 lifetimes of work to get good
yeah.
at their
There's a
instrument.
reason why you still like in these big movies, you have these big orchestras doing like the sci-fi movies.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still there's a reason that you want that physical presence of that orchestra. Just like in jazz, like
Hmm.
fusion jazz is a feeling.
Yeah.
Bebop is a feeling.
Hmm.
I don't think that some robot is gonna have the feeling of like Sun Ra or or
Hmm.
you know like the Herbie Hancock and the Headhunters. Like no, or Weather Report. No, I don't think they have that feel.
No, I mean they can fake it,
You fake
but
it. You fake
there's
it.
something about it. You're right, and I think we can still tell. And I think AI may push us towards pushes more into like going to live performances
I think if
and
people are gonna want to see it because there's this
yeah,
idea they're gonna go and do a holographic Led Zeppelin with AI. they're going to do holographic Hendrix and have him do like new Hendrix songs inspired by his old songs. I was like, okay, why would I want to see that? Why wouldn't I just go watch Woodstock? Or why wouldn't I just go watch some kid, a young guy or an older guy, in New Orleans? Why wouldn't I go just watch that?
Yeah.
You know,
It's weird though, isn't it? That's it. Like, it's kind of neat, but that's almost like something you'd see in like a museum or something where you go, oh, that's kind of cool, but
yeah,
not.
I think the tech bros want that to be the next thing. They
Well,
they they want to create these kind of sideshow things. In my
yeah,
opinion, it's kind of a
it's
sideshow.
yeah.
But it's like, okay, is that really like I'm looking for the next like Coltrane.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
No, and like, and who's charging for tickets? Who gets paid?
Well, the tech company, this is what I'm trying to say. I talk to these tech
Yeah,
bros, and they want to monetize all creativity so it goes to them. So it
to them.
funnels upward. And I think that's very destructive
Yeah,
because
huge.
they're, like I said, they're all STEM. They're not
Yeah,
they're not really, these are not the guys when I was going to college that were hanging out with the bohemians.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
definitely not.
these are guys that were in the frat.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, how can we make the most amount of money in the least amount of time?
Yeah, there's a
And that's
Wall Street
interesting.
mindset. Yeah, to me, it's like that's the kind of anti-creativity because creative people are kind of neurodiverse. They're
Yep,
kind of others.
yep,
They're very empathetic. Like any artist,
yep,
if you're a writer, you feel what's around you, you feel
yep,
what's inside you, and you synthesize it.
yep.
So like what's inside you, but then you're looking at the film, so you have your 20,000, 100,000 hours of experience as a musician,
Right.
right? But then you have your experience as a human being, empathetic to what's going on, and it's like, oh, I know
Mm,
how to relate to that,
yeah.
and how to turn that into a piece of work or sound that
Yep.
becomes that visual soundtrack, right?
Yeah. And it's like, we've got like thousands of years of practice creating art and going and listening to poets and musicians and watching actors and dancers, and it's built in. And I think when we get it packaged in a digital form and shown like, hey, this is now art, something is not being fed properly.
Yeah, it
And
just doesn't look like Monet. Doesn't look like a Renoir. Doesn't
no,
sound like Sun Ra. Doesn't sound like Hendrix.
no,
You know,
it's just
and
something in our brains know. And
I
if
know
we
it.
start to see, technology take over, where we're just watching the big tech monetize art, funnel it upstream, it also kind of kills any new artists coming along that go, well, what's the point?
Yeah,
Right.
that's why I think it's very destructive because if you had to back in the day, and I'm a child of the '70s, and I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
a lot of kids. I was in band, and almost everybody that was in band was creating their own. Like it's like the age of new wave and MTV.
yep,
Everybody was trying to be Duran Duran.
yeah,
Everybody was trying to be The Cure. We were trying to be like television, whatever. We saw something on TV, say, like, hey, let's see if we can go get a keyboard from Guitar Center and get a drum
yeah,
set. Let's see if we can do that, right?
yeah.
And now they got these kids saying, well, it's AI generative. Maybe they don't even want to try unless they're
That's
very passionate. I worry about
yeah.
that because I knew a lot of kids that did that, and I'm wondering where the kids picking up the instruments now.
I don't know. That's a good question, right? Like, I think it's still there. I think that we're still seeing kids get curious about art in whatever format. And we've got a generation now that's coming into this creative world, also looking at AI, going, is that a freight train coming, or is that an optical illusion? Is that a phantom thing that's going to disappear? And I think kids are still going to want to create. Those artists are still going to be here to experiment and push the work forward until such a time as it becomes either clear that it's still a very like it's a fruitful endeavor. But if AI comes and crushes it, I don't know how long that would last. I think there's going to be a pushback. I think people are going to
Well, I
lose their
think people
minds.
are gonna be disappointed 'cause I know there's a trend, like, if you listen to, like, look at the streaming trends of, like, the
Mm,
younger people, they're listening to the older music. They're
yeah,
listening to stuff from, like, '60s, '70s, '80s. They're not listening to as much of, like, what's now.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
will tell you that, like, if you look at a like, a chart from, like, '72, from
Mhm.
82, from 92. And you look at the quality of the music that's in the top 20
Yeah.
versus what you see today.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, it don't match.
No. No, no, right?
It
Like,
doesn't match.
there's still some really talented artists, but
They're at the
it
bottom.
it
They're
it's
kinda at the bottom of the chart, and
yeah.
and and they're not. They used to be that they could get closer to the top.
Mhm.
You could get like a replacements. You could
Yep.
get like an Echo and the Bunnymen. You could get these bands that weren't super big. They weren't Guns N' Roses, but the
Yep.
kids could dig them, right? And
Yeah.
they were doing something different. And
Yeah.
now everybody's like doing all this DJ kind of focused work, CDJ kind of
Yeah.
EDM, and it's all the same drops, all the same plugins, it's all the same beats. It's very repetitive. And like, how is that inspiring?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna I think carve a path for, other artists to come along. Like my family and I will from time to time we'll go into the city and go and see like a Broadway show when they come through town. And like those theaters are still packed. Like and
People
people
want
want it. Like we went and saw Moulin Rouge a couple weeks ago and they had a live band and incredible production. But like sitting in the theater, I'm like, people need this still
yeah,
to
well,
happen.
that because it's like when you see like a one act play or you see like a musical
Yeah.
and the coordination of the human beings doing that performance, and it is like a moment in time. Every day that you go to see that show, they're gonna do it a little different, and that's the point. The problem with the AI, it could do it the same every night,
Yes.
and I think people are gonna not want that because the Eagles got in trouble on their Hotel California tour because they kept on telling everybody in the band they got to do it note for note what was in the record.
Right.
And everybody was getting burned out
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's not fun. Like Joe Walsh, why would he want to play it note for note? Like, is that the point of having Joe Walsh on stage?
Right. Yeah. No, it's a good good point, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a very good example, right? Like we want the imperfection. We want the humanness. And Hans Zimmer had a great interview a while ago where he talked about because he'll sometimes go on tour with a band and
Oh
he's
yeah,
got great musicians.
yeah.
And
Zimmer's like
he's a
Blade Runner.
yeah, but he hates playing live. He hates it. He
Well,
gets
he's
very
an
nervous
indoor
going on
guy,
stage.
right? He's an
Yeah,
indoor.
because he gets out with his guitar but someone said to him, "Look, go out and tell the audience that you don't like doing this and you're kind of nervous and watch what happens." And so he went out that next night or whenever the next show was, and sort of everyone's going crazy, and he just said like, pardon me, he's like, I don't love playing live, so I'm going to make a bunch of mistakes. And everyone went crazy. They're
Yeah, they
ah,
want to see him say this to kind of jam it,
yeah,
like
just do something. Like make
like
us
Rachel
feel like
Brianino. Just
yeah,
play, be
just play
cool with it.
and make us feel like you're one of us, right? You get nervous, you don't, oh,
Yeah, that's
but you're
kinda
a
like the
human
punk
being.
aesthetic, that was, like, what the Clash was about, and
Yeah,
what the Ramones were about, like, you have heart, you don't have to be Jimmy Page, right?
right,
You don't have to be like Yes, right? And turn your
right,
back to
yep,
the audience and be
yep,
like, "We're brilliant." Like, I mean, I like Yes, but the idea was the punk movement kinda came, and then the new wave was, like, a punk aesthetic with, like, synths
yep,
and guitars, and the idea was, like, oh, you could come at it like Bob Dylan's, like, his voice, right?
yeah,
Wasn't perfect pitch. It's very different. It was
yep,
about the song. It was about the writing.
yep,
It wasn't about the voice. But the voice is actually integral because he's imperfect. His
hmm,
songs have character,
oh,
and
totally,
that's half the thing. That's
yeah,
more than it's about 90% of the thing.
yeah. Like there's a recording of I think it's the Beatles' "Hey Jude," and somewhere McCartney plays a wrong, like he goes to the bridge when he's supposed to go to the
He
verse or
hits it
something.
wrong. Oh, he hits it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually hear him cursing on the recording, going, "Oh, bleep," because he didn't hit,
He didn't
and
do it
it's
right.
like, "Oh my god, that's incredible." You have to really listen for it, but it's there, and they kept it. They left it
Yeah, that's
obviously
the
as all the
happy
tape.
accidents.
It's
That's
great.
I was, like, watching a documentary on Yellow Brick Road to Own John, and
Yeah.
they were doing it in some mansion, and everything's, like,
Mm.
3rd, 4th take. And Ellen was saying, like, "I belong for the days when we used to do it like that."
Yeah.
Because, like, the problem with the DAW is, like, you go and try to make it too perfect, then it becomes antiseptic to me. It loses the heart. Because, like, by the 100th take, like, what you wanted to do on a 4th take, you probably destroyed it.
Yeah.
And despite a lot to me is about the punk aesthetic. Why I like bands like, the Replacements and Husker Do's and Black Flag and a lot of those like kind of punk post-punk bands. Was
Yeah.
they had this idea like, well, yeah, let's record it in 48 hours for a second take. Like, why not? Let's
Mm.
capture the passion of it.
Yeah.
And there's something about them. Those are very point in time
Yep.
pieces of art.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be a perfection guy, fine. You want to do Born to Run and spend all the time trying to build a wall of sound, that's your prerogative. But sometimes even Bruce decided to do Nebraska, and he didn't do it that way.
Yeah. Right. Just and it is like going back to roots, and because we all started there. We all started picking up an instrument or something and just doing it, and it's like, oh, that was cool. Like whatever I just did sounded kind of good. How do I do that again? I got to record that. And I've worked on albums with folks in the past, and it's so true how, like, we've learned too, if the artist is in any way a little bit like, oh, I'm in the studio now, I've got, well, just give me a couple warm-up takes, record everything.
Yeah,
And half the time you're taking the warm-up because it was like, oh, that's
the closest thing, because artists always kind of screw themselves up, in my opinion. Like when
yeah.
I've worked with the guys I work with, is like by the time they get past like that fourth take, they kind of like they're sometimes they're not confident in what they did.
Yeah.
And it's up to the people around them to kind of say, hey, like your A&R guy or your engineer is like, hey, that's actually good.
Yeah.
Because you might doubt yourself. Hendrix was known for doing so many different guitar solos.
Yeah.
All of them were good.
Yeah.
I mean, I got everything in the Hendrix, like all the versions are good,
Wow.
but some of them have a different feel, and it's a choice of like what you want that to feel like.
Yes.
So maybe he's trying to get it to feel what's in his head,
Yeah.
right? Or what he thinks it should be. But that's the only problem you can run into. Like if you know what you want
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to get to it, but if you
Yeah.
don't know what you want and you don't know how to get to it, then you could be in problems.
Yeah, because then you're just chasing something that kind of can feel kind of soulless in the end. And it's amazing, like when I get an opportunity to record a real player on something, even if it's one instrument, it just elevates everything, because now there's another human being and another set of lungs and another brain doing something, and it gives it this dimension, and we're used to hearing that. I mean, I think it was even a struggle in the like late 90s, early 2000s, when samples started to get a little bit better, and cues that would be in these films, like Hans Zimmer talks about this. He would mock up everything and it would sound amazing, but then it would go to the orchestra. There was never any like question about that. And I cannot remember the film, but there was a film where they just budgets shrink and timeline shrinks, and his mock-up actually made it into the film because they just didn't have time. And he was like, oh, this is dangerous. Like,
but that's actually cool, because I think some of those like if it's more raw, it's like you get to these people like they're watching the meter, they're watching the timing, trying to get the click track, trying to check the clock. And a lot of times, like, okay, fine. If you're trying to get a pop hit or you're trying to sync something.
Yeah.
But there are certain situations where having that, microtonal deviance or iteration, or you have like, you have discordance.
Yep.
Like a lot of times, like you'll do like you'll change the chord to be a little discordant on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose.
Right?
Yep.
On purpose. You play with the you have like shadow notes, shadow vocals, stuff that's a little off. But you kind of build it up. It's a painting. It's got layers.
Yeah, and so it makes it sound fat. That's what makes it sound big, and it's we can get into being too precious with things where it becomes kind of sanitized, and
that's why I worry about the everybody's in the DAW, right? Even people are getting back into like MPCs.
Oh yeah,
because people are realizing like if you hand do the beat on an MPC, it feels more dynamic. Than it's punching into the DAW.
Yeah.
And a lot of people was like, wow, like why were those hip hop songs? Why was that rap good?
Yeah,
they were using like real vinyl, DJs, and they're using like 808s, 909s.
Yep.
And even now today, people want like I'd rather somebody's like, why am I going to buy this DAW? Am I actually going to get an 808? Because I have an 808, I get an MPC. those
Yep.
physical hardware, I could do a lot of cool stuff.
Oh
I
yeah.
might be limited that I can't do as much as the dog can do, but those limitations, you can still do a lot of cool things.
You can do a lot of cool things. And I mean, like, and Sonic had the I think it was the ASR 10. It was a
Oh
sampler,
yeah, that's a nice machine.
and those converters just
Sound different.
sounded great. And those things are still very valuable on eBay and hard to find because
The converters, yeah.
there's just something about it that that it wasn't, they weren't built that way necessarily on purpose to be
Yeah.
great.
They
They
just
just
sound
kind
good.
of, they
Kinda
just were.
like the filter on a Mini Moog. It
Yeah.
actually has a defect.
Yeah.
You know, the CP3 has a defect, but the defect sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, and you would remember, and this is, I love this kind of analogy, the story, because it applies to a lot. When Yamaha came out with the NS10, and most people have seen NS10s, the black speaker with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
white cone. It's kind of the studio monitor. And they came out in the 80s. Yamaha was like, we got this great reference monitor. Everyone's going to lose their minds. And I think it was the hip hop guys that bought them and went, these are terrible.
Yeah, like
They don't sound good at all. And so then Yamaha went like, oh no. And they quickly realized, don't change it. Because now, if you can make your mix sound good on NS10s, they'll sound good anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, even today, people still have them. Again, they're hard to find, but those original NS10s from back in the 80s are like, they sound awful, and they probably honestly take you 5 years to get used to them. But if you can get a pair and get your mix working on
Yeah,
them,
they can actually hear. But that's there's a lot of secret sauce to like sound.
yeah,
Between using like Neve boards and solid state, all preamps and all the processors to like picking like your guitar, you know, like the different types of guitars you could use and you get in so detail, right? Of
yeah,
the pickups and the amps you're going to use, if you're going to mic the amp, if you're not going to mic the amp, what you're going to go through. And even on pianos, like you have to capture in the open air with the different mics and picking up the strings. Like
yeah,
there's different ways of capturing stuff.
yeah,
Like how people mic the Who versus how they
yes,
mic Led Zepp,
yeah,
right? Like
yep,
how you mic Mitch Mitchell is different than how you mic Bottom.
right, yeah. It's interesting. I mean, and that's part of the art of it, right? And like,
Yeah.
and I think that there is seems to be like this resurgence too in wanting to understand these mics from the 50s and 60s and
Oh
70s
yeah,
and this
everybody's
different,
jumping in
you
on
know,
those. Well,
yeah.
I have a lot of mics that I play with, but mics are super important. And sometimes I'll run like my synth through like a Marshall, and then
Oh
cap
yeah,
it
yeah,
with a mic to
yeah.
get this kind of distorted guitar effect coming out of my Juno.
And you'll never do it the same way twice.
Yeah, and it just gives you this like flavor that's like, wow, how did
Yeah.
you do that? Well, because I'm not just using a plugin.
Yeah, because you're just trying stuff. You're just plugging things in an acoustic
It's
space, and you
experiment. They
know
play with the air,
the
like the sound.
temperature in the room will
Yeah,
change the pitch a little bit and change things
or
just
tube
enough.
amps, like even a Moog, it takes like 30 minutes to Moog up, to warm up. So
Yeah,
if you play it when it's not warmed up, the oscillators sound different.
yeah,
So every time you turn it on, it has like a life of its own.
yeah. Isn't
And
that wild, right?
it just acts different. And that to me is the great thing of it. Cause like you pick up a guitar and it depends on what you're doing that day with the pedals and however you put it onto the amp, like it'll feel different. And that's what you're kind of using that as an
Hmm.
artist to take advantage. But I have this antiseptic digital perfect world. And then I gotta try to break, like you have to kind of go into these things and like kind of change the tunings
Yep,
to kind of wreck them a little bit
yep,
to
yep.
make it sound better. And so, like, if you just take it straight, it's like I'm not gonna use it straight.
No, and we know, like, it's interesting, like instruments get sharp when they're played louder, they get a little flat when they're played quiet, and with everything being perfect all the time, it does miss something. So yeah, part of my job is to go in and like put those imperfections back in
Back
and
into it,
start
yeah.
moving tuning. Like we did a TV series back in the fall and really experimented with. I mean, it was all kind of very layered, and there was a lot of atmospheric things and kind of unusual drums and loops and things. But a lot of it was just bending pitches so that
Yeah.
it was almost uncomfortable in moments, but you're creating this tension.
Yeah, you want to do that. Sometimes you
With
play like
yeah,
I like the RD piano from Roland because you can tune the strings of the piano. You can
yes,
change the lid height.
Yeah.
So you go and you make the piano yours.
Yep.
You actually
Yeah.
tune it, and you spend like I spend a lot of time like doing sound design before I even do any song.
Yeah.
If I
Right?
on my Juno, on my modular, I spend time creating original pads, original tones
Yeah. Yep.
by doing the synthesis, like
Yeah.
subtractive synthesis or additive synthesis or whatever. I spend the time to not just use the straight preset, not like a
No,
DX7.
exactly.
Like a DX7 guys, oh, just use a, or you know, like a, that's a lot of people just will use the like, oh, I'm just gonna use the preset.
Yeah, no, it's there as a starting point. I mean, and it makes me think of like someone like John Cage, who, very polarizing character. People love him or they hate him, but
Oh yeah.
he really did things that we still talk about today. And like the idea of the prepared piano, where he would open the piano lid and throw like doll parts inside,
Oh, put like metal on it, throw metal
put
in
metal
different
on it.
things. Yeah,
And
definitely heard people doing that.
he was one of, I mean, there was a number of them, but as an American composer, he was so influential in that world of like aleatoric performance, where if you went to a John Cage show, especially in New York, like in the 50s,
Mhm.
you were only ever going to get that
That
once,
one time. Yeah, you gotta
you know?
record it if you want the live version.
Yeah, right. Like he would do crazy stuff. Like he would have radios on stage and then he would roll dice, and whatever numbers came up, he would use those numbers to tune the radios to. And
Well,
then
it's like
that
Eno
became,
thing. Like Eno had this
yeah,
thing with Bowie where he'd have the charts and just throw up notes that weren't even on the chart, right?
yeah,
And just have like during the Bowie sessions, they were doing that stuff in Berlin, and he would just like, and some of the session musicians are like, "That's not correct." They say, "No, it doesn't matter. Do it."
yeah, it doesn't matter. It's true.
Like, that's not the right thing we should play. It's like that's why you should play it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
that's like
fun.
kind of very interesting aesthetic. Like playing with discordance or playing with like space between the notes,
Yeah,
like the silence. A
the
lot of times in
silence.
composition, because we get so like we can overdo it.
Yeah.
We can overlayer with all the tech now.
Yes.
Like 64 layers, 128 layers is like sometimes you get the sparseness of having like a demo, kind of
Yeah.
like early Prince stuff. Like,
Yeah.
some of his stuff, like the Dirty Mind thing, it sounds like a demo because it pretty much is. It's like it's all like very, very raw.
Yeah.
It is. There's not a lot of processing. I think Warner Brothers, when they got it, said it wasn't done. Said this ain't done, and he said, "Well, put it out."
Yeah. Right. He
But
knew.
that's the way you have somebody who's like, "I know what I want.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter where you think things are. This
Right.
is where I think it is." And
Yep.
that's where, and that's where I think that you have to be allowed to do that because I think everybody wants to get put in a box,
Right.
or they want to say, "Oh, I want to get the billion views on
Right.
Spot or listens on Spotify. We got to get a billion." Like, is that really necessary? Because Sunra doesn't get that.
No.
Everybody knows
Right.
the Sunrise like is the stuff.
Yeah. 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 Right. Yeah. And the metrics are very different than they used to be. And it's now it's the plays, the streams, the likes, the follows, all that. But at the end of the day, I think we are going to come back to wanting art for the sake of art. And we may be reaching kind of a point where the pendulum is going to swing back the other way. And we're going to actively reject this whole AI, done in 5 minutes
Yeah,
thing. I
there's
think,
nothing in 5 minutes is really that great.
no,
I think it's like the thing about any art, like there's stuff that you can do quickly, but a lot of times it's like even if you did it quickly, it was the 10 years of your life that led to the 5 minutes.
correct. Yes. Yes. 100%. Like they say, you're not paying me to do for the hour that's is going to take me. You're paying me for the 15 years of struggle to get to the point
Yeah, they
where
get
I
that
can do it
great
now.
beat poet that's sitting in the Bohemian thing and they say something profound. It's like it's because they lived that life like Jack Kerouac on the road.
Yeah.
So they can say these profound things.
Yeah. Right.
And you're like, wow, how can people used to look at Dylan's like, how can he come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
And it was like, because he was out there. He was
Yeah.
traveling.
He lived it. He lived
Yeah,
it.
yeah, you have to kind of I think people want that human connection because the thing about the computer, it's kind of like the COVID thing. Everybody was like locked down.
Yeah.
I think eventually, like you don't want to be in that lockdown phase.
No.
Like you want to be out in the world
Yeah, yeah.
and you want to like touch like humanity. You want it to touch you. You want it to feel the vibe. And, being like the tech bros would tell you, like, you can just do it all from your room. It's like, I don't think so.
No, it doesn't sound super appealing. I don't
Just do
think
it all
that
from
sounds
your room without talking to anybody.
like, hey man, if AI can like organize my taxes, do the books, great. Go to town. But I think we're gonna see it. We're gonna want it to do the mundane so that we can go and do other things
Yeah,
or
that you can
spend more
open up, that
time.
you can spend more time, like, actually, you know playing. Like, if you wanna perform and
Yeah,
you wanna spend all this time doing business stuff, you get
right?
rid of the business stuff, then you can do more collaborations.
Yeah.
You
Go
can do more
practice. Go,
projects, you could do more
yeah.
work, you could actually do more connecting events with other human beings and, like, because 'cause you're not stuck doing all your, the business end of it.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to be an actuary. Nobody wants to
No,
be in a
right.
spreadsheet.
No, we didn't get into the business for that purpose, right?
Yeah, a spreadsheet's not my thing. It's like I don't get excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I wanna let people know that we got your QR code up for, realcrafter.com. So what happens when people go to that site that you have there?
So that's yeah, Real Crafter, quick thanks to them. It's a great site for artists, visual artists, and composers and musicians. So that link goes to just some recent work of mine, some video clips of cues from docs, and then I've just got a bunch of other music up from other films and whatnot, and links to my bio and my IMDb, and yeah, you can find out a little bit about
That's how you
me
can connect.
in one
That's
page.
awesome. Because you can just take your phone and scan that, it'll go right to that website. We do have your Instagram as well. Both of those will be clickable within, the platform that we're on. We
Awesome.
were on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. We will be on all the major platforms by the end of the day tomorrow. That includes
Okay,
like
awesome.
Spotify Video Podcast, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Newsly, a bunch of other plans. We will create a landing page for the audience to be able to pick whatever platform they like, what they like to listen to or watch a podcast on. We'll get that to you. We also use AI to create some clips. We'll tag you as a collaborator on Instagram with a story with a highlight reel. So that's
Oh,
part of the
perfect.
further process. So people who maybe missed it, they can go check the reel, and then on the story on Instagram, I will have an actual link, and then you go boom, you can go and say, oh, I want to listen to it on audio on Apple, or I want to watch it on Spotify or YouTube or Facebook or wherever. We're gonna
Gotcha.
give away that. So that's what we do, and I want to thank you for being here tonight.
Yeah, thank you. This was awesome. No, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we like to have kind of a real conversation. So
Yeah, no, that's great.
yeah,
It's
I want
great.
to thank you for being here. It's cool talking to other creative people. That's kind of what gets the juices flowing. You get to really into the spirit. I think having that it's kind of reflective of what we've been talking about, like human
Yeah,
connection.
human
Having
connection.
a space to talk about things is kind of where it's at.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. Nope,
but thank you
totally
and
agree.
have a great night.
You too. We'll see ya.